I didn't really know business. I wasn't around business owners. I didn't have family that were entrepreneurs. Nobody. I didn't really know entrepreneurship. I just knew some people were rich, and I was just curious after. I'm like, so like, what do you do, man? Like, I own a warehouse that manufactures nail polish remover. Okay, there's a million ways to make money in this world. I didn't want to be the best at anything really when I was younger. Like, I liked things. I loved skateboarding and DJing and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until I got there where I was like, I want to be the best in the world at this. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, worse than your business failing is that you got to go and get a job. That is the ultimate failure. Mm-hmm. When there's a level playing field and execution is at the fingertips of anyone, what's left?
Andrew, welcome. Now, going straight into it, for someone who doesn't know who you are, what do you do?
That's a loaded question. I'm the creative director of a company called Everbowl and quarterback for a brand for the founder, Jeff Fenster. I've been in media for about 10 years now, doing it for a lot of big entrepreneurs, for personal brands, big business brands. You name it. I've kind of really put my foot in the door of the media industry a long time ago and have tried pretty much everything. And now somehow we ended up here in sunny San Diego with some really cool brands.
Love it.
And cool people.
I love it. You picked up the camera, but when you were 12.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Your mom handed you the camera.
Yeah, actually. My mom was a professional photographer when I was growing up. She basically started a side business and started doing like weddings, maternities, and she actually went to this photography school for it and got really good at it. And I was kind of her backpack mule. So I would go and set up all the backdrops and set everything, take down everything, carry the backpacks with all the lenses and everything. And she would give me like $5 for the day. And back then it was like cool, but she gave me one of her cameras. Like, really how it happened is once she got a second camera, she gave me the secondary camera that she had, and she set up all the actual adjustments on it and was like basically had it ready to just click. I was like, okay, cool. And she gave it to me, and one of her clients was it was during a wedding, and they ended up picking a lot of my pictures for that gig, and that's what she was like, you have a knack for this, like you should do this. And she was really trying to push me towards like, you could make money this and blah blah blah. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to shoot weddings and banquets for the rest of my life. I was a teenage boy. It didn't interest me, I was like, nah, I'm good. And it wasn't until a couple of years later where I started playing with media and video side of things.
So it took a couple of years before you actually catch on to things.
Oh yeah.
Since you were 12. So what goes on in your head when you were 12 and you're doing all this work with your mom? Like, did you even see it as a viable career at the time?
Oh, no, I didn't care about it really. I wasn't like, at the time, I don't know, at that age, I probably wanted to be a DJ or something, like.
Really?
Yeah, I was big into skateboarding when I was growing up, so I wanted to be a professional skateboarder, and then I got into DJing, and I wanted to be a professional DJ, and then it kind of just kept hopping. I got really into music. I almost went to school for music, so like my brain was really on that stuff. I didn't really like. I never. At least back then, it wasn't like some clicking moment of like, this is what I'm gonna do. It was just like, oh, you're kind of good at this. So it was like, okay, cool. Well, that's cool. Yeah, that was it.
At what point did you get back into the media side?
So the first time I ever touched it again was my senior year of high school. I took video production, actually.
Okay.
I took video production, and that's where I learned for the first time how to use Premiere Pro. And so they taught me that in Premiere Pro and how to use it.
Was it a class?
Yeah, a video production class. Literally just called video production. And we had like different assignments every single week, and we would get with groups. And basically we would have to go out, and we'd have these little press passes, and we would go out and shoot little videos. Like it's still on YouTube. Way back when we made some funny like high school music video. And it was just for fun, but it was like one of our projects. We had to come back and we had to script it, and we had to edit it, and we had to actually put it together and then showcase it for the whole class. That's where the bug for media actually was started, because that's where it clicked. Because it was the first time, because I never grew up really liking school. Me and school didn't get along. And it wasn't, I had a lot of teachers that would say it was because I was lazy, but I was just not interested. Because anything I was interested in, I was obsessed about. Like, I wanted to learn everything about it, you know? So it wasn't really about that. But that was the first time, like, I had ever been in a classroom where the bell would ring and I'd be upset that I have to go to the next class. You know, like I
Wow.
was like, oh, like deep in my editing workflow, and then like ding 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 ding, ding, and then you gotta go to the next. I was like, bro, like I'm about to, you know, it was the first time I was like, wow, like I wanted to get back to it. I wanted to make, and that's really, I think the bug first started, but even then, still, I never thought it could be something I could do. If anything, to me, it was just an extracurriculum class. Like it was just like that was it. It was just I was taking this class to get my credit that I needed, and you know that was it. Like I didn't really think, oh, like one day I'm going to use this. It wasn't till even years later after that.
Would you say that you were a pretty good student back then, or were you, you know, did you care a lot? Were you studious and stuff?
No.
What were you like then?
No, man, I barely carried a backpack with me anywhere. My parents used to joke around. They're like, "Do you ever like do homework?" Like, because I would just figure out how to do it either before I left school, like, or like figure out somehow how to do it, you know, when I got back to school the next day. Like, I wasn't great at school, to say the least. Not that I wasn't like capable of doing it. It's just I didn't apply myself because the same thing. I just wasn't interested. Like there was only maybe a few classes that I ever really liked, but you know, it was like math, science, nothing, English, never really like, oh, I really like this. You know, it was just I was very much so somebody who liked to be hands-on. Like I like to learn with my hand. I like to learn by doing. And trial and error, and a lot of that stuff in school too, especially like it's all theory, and I just could not just do it. And I didn't, also, it's like, why am I ever going to use this again? Like, I don't need to use this algebra 2 formula that's never been shown again in my life.
Right.
You know? And so a lot of it just seemed very irrelevant. So it just kind of like, all right, well, I just got to keep going through this. And same thing. I never thought about college either. Like, the only reason I thought about college was to go for music production. Like, I wanted to go for music engineering. And that was really the only reason I ever thought about college. You know, other than that, like it just didn't entice me. Like I just was not interested.
Did you have any inspirations back when you were in that high school days when you were like, you know, producing all these videos and stuff? Was there people that you look up to?
Social media wise, or
in general?
In general,
were you inspired by a specific type of culture or specific brands?
Maybe culture, because I mean, when I was really into skateboarding, I loved that culture of like, you know, just it's kind of like, I mean, it's just my first time getting into a niche, you know, where it's like, this is dope. Like everybody like speaks the same language. You guys all kind of, you know, follow the same skateboarders and this and that, and magazines, and you know all the best, you know, skate spots. Like it's like the first time I was around like community and niche community. And I think that was really cool being that. But I mean, besides that, I didn't really grow up with many mentors or I guess people in my life that guided me from a young age. Like I got a lot of mentorship later on in life, but like early on, man, before David Meltzer, like I had to basically figure a lot out on my own. You know, because my parents, you know, had a tough upbringing. I'm firstborn here. They were immigrants here that migrated, and they worked their butts off just to, you know, get us this far. But still, on top of that, it was like, you know, it was just a completely different world coming here, and where now I had to kind of like figure out the ropes, you know, on my own here. Of like, I didn't really know business. You know, I wasn't around business owners. I didn't have family that were entrepreneurs. Nobody. I didn't really know entrepreneurship. I just knew some people were rich. Like that was kind of like, you know, I didn't know how or whatever. I thought in my head like lawyers, doctors, and you know, that's the only thing I could really think of like, oh, those are the people that are making it. It wasn't until I was like after high school, when I turned 18, when I got hired actually by an exotic car dealership. I randomly like randomly met the owner of this exotic car dealership because I saw him driving with his Ferrari, and me and my buddy are in our car, and we see him drive by, and I just remember he's like, "Oh, bro, let's go ask him if we can take a picture." And we're like, "Okay, like sure." I was like, I don't want to bug him, and he's pulling in his driveway, but guy was super chill, and he's like, "Oh yeah, come in." And my buddy's like, "How many cars do you have, man? Like we see so many here." He's like, "A little less than 300." We're like, "What?" And turns out he was the owner of this exotic car dealership. And then funny enough, through that, he ended up hiring me and my best friend, and we started working. And next thing you know, we're driving Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Aston Martins, Bentleys everywhere, dealing with all the Angels and Ducks players. And that was my first time around entrepreneurs, because the same thing. When I got in there, I was like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of doctors, lawyers, and those are the people that are buying these cars. No, no, no. It was like the most random businesses you could ever think of. Like this guy came in one weekend bored because him and his wife were bored at home and spent $400,000 cash on a Ferrari. And I was just curious after. I'm like, so like, what do you do, man? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I own a warehouse that manufactures nail polish remover. And instantly that broke my brain, where I was like, okay, there's a million ways to make money in this world. Like they all these guys have different businesses, and all of them would be like, yeah, I went to college for this and architecture, but I don't do any of that. And I was just like, it was kind of like, for the first time, it was like my brain opened, where I was like, oh man, like, dude, like all these guys. And I leveraged it. I started asking people questions all the time. Hey, I'm thinking about this. Hey, what do you think about this? And they would open up and they would start to just share information with me. You know, I still remember one talk I had with this dude. It was the first company business brand I ever tried to start, was a fitness apparel brand, like way back in like 2012 or something like that, 2015, 2016, something like that. And I had one of the guys, his name was Bobby Sharifi, and he was like super well. He had like 3 or 4 businesses that were crushing it, right? And he's like dropping off his Ferrari to get serviced, and we're talking, and I end up giving him a ride back home because he was dropping off the car. So yeah, we'll drive you back. And I have half an hour in the car with this dude, and I'm talking to him. I'm telling him all these inspirations and dreams I got, and he just straight up was like, "Good." He's like, "Execute on it." He's like, "Do it. Just remember this." He's like, "Whether it's your first business or your 50th business, all you need is one to make it, and you win." He's like, "You just need one of them to make it." And I just remember that sitting with me so hard. I was like, huh. And I remember kind of at first, because I was like, is he telling me that this fitness apparel brand is a bad idea? Like, is that what he's trying to tell me? But really, it was just understanding that, hey, dude, things are going to pivot, things are going to change. And, you know, you have to be willing to just keep going and try to pivot and move into that new direction, the new dream, the new idea, no matter what. Even if the past one fails 5 times, right? What's the next strategy we're doing? What is the next way we're doing? Maybe the business needs to pivot just a little bit. This model is what's going to make it better. And you know, so it was just, I wouldn't have learned that early on, but he gave me a good mindset in the beginning of like not getting too attached to my first idea, you know, of like, this one has to be the one that makes it. Well, it might be a bad idea, you know?
Right.
Like a terrible idea, you know? Yeah. So, you know, I wasn't married too much to the idea, but more of like what I was trying to build, you know?
What made you go back to media?
Good question. So fast forward, I ended up actually getting fired from that job because I accidentally ran into a car, backed into an Alfa Romero on my way to lunch. And they had a policy: if you do it in the first year, no matter what, if you have an accident or whatever, you're terminated. And I was just getting into sales with them, and I was about ready to make 6 figures at like 18, dude. And I was ready to go, you know?
Yeah.
And that happened, and they let me go like the next day. And then instantly the next day I went to all these other dealerships too. My ego was all flared up too. So I was like, fine, I'm going to go land at a dealership, roll across the street and show you guys it was the whole thing. And then got out of the car industry. I probably went through like 12 different dead end jobs. I mean, I've been working since my junior year in high school. Because it was like, if I wanted a car, it was like, I remember going to my parents, hey, how much do you have saved for my car? And they just started laughing.
Yeah.
If you want a car, you work for it. Like, okay, I got a job. So I probably have had 13, 14 jobs at this point. Truthfully, I got fired from about 12.
Wow.
Not because I sucked. It's because I would come in. I had a great work ethic. Every single job I've had, they always gave raises. Mostly, if they weren't in the first year, even first 3 months, like it was always, I always got raises right away. And but then I would get promises and different things that I wouldn't see pan out, and I would bump heads with leadership, or I would get to the point where I was like, all right, I'm over it. Like, I'm uninspired. Like, you know, it would just I was like, there's got to be more than this, you know? I was working 60, 70-hour weeks at some of these companies, like warehouse, backbreaking construction work. Like, I was just a workhorse, but barely making enough to make up for it, you know, and like spending all my days like just breaking my back. So it was like, it wasn't until that I was working at a company that did pools. And at the time, I had my buddies and I that were getting into snowboarding. So I bought a GoPro. And with this GoPro, I ended up going and just filming us going to snowboarding, and we all sucked.
Yeah.
So we're falling and doing all this grass. So I get back with all this footage, and I'm like, man, I want to put it together. And so I went on iMovie. I teach myself how to edit. I just started clicking buttons and YouTube University, you know. And so, and then after that, it was like I put it together and I threw up on YouTube just for fun. And a few days later, I'm at work and I get a call from my boss, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he's like, "Hey, I just saw this video that you just put on YouTube. You and your buddies snowboarding." And in my head, I'm like, "Oh crap," you know, like,
no.
you know, which part did you see? And he's like, you know, I wanted to ask, like, you think you can do videos like this for some of our projects? I was like, sure. Like, yeah, I guess, you know, you want to, sure. Yeah. So I literally went and did a few with like the GoPro and just filmed it and made it. And they paid me for them and then contracted me for 13 more. And instantly I was like, bro, if I can make money doing this and I'm kind of passionate about it, like 100% over that backbreaking work.
Yeah.
I was making more money making these little videos for them than working 60-hour weeks for them. So I was like, of course. And I jumped all in, dude. And I went all into media. And that was my first year and a half. And the first probably 8 months though was like this, like always constantly up and down. 1 month I'd be so busy with shoots and editing back to back to back. Next month it's like just completely went dry, like, and just nothing, you know. But I would get so stuck in working in the business versus on the business, and then I'm trying to like catch my own tail. And so I started the non-negotiable to start DMing 30 people a day, and I just started every
You did that
day.
for 8 months?
Yeah, right? You did your research. Yeah, 8 months, and it was like thousands of DMs, dude. And like it's funny though. Now I look back, and most of those people, because now they're in a general, right, versus the regular. Most of those people now I look back through it and we've like tagged and DM back and forth because we've been each other and we've met, and I've either worked around them or with them. And so it's funny. So like I start meeting all these people later on in the industry, especially like even podcast guests. And then like I'll tag them after, and then I'll see that I messaged them back in like 2014, you know? And I'm like, that's dope. And then they'll, you know, we get to talk about it, and it's funny because they're like, oh wow, like, man, you were really out there, you know? Like, so it's really cool. But that's actually, you know, how I started getting traction in my business very early on. I started working with people from Ty Lopez's team, some water bottle companies, some big actors in the entertainment industry, big YouTubers I started working around, and just really kind of gave my feet wet in all this stuff. I took on a big industrial steel client that I started doing all their internal media and like commercials for them. And dude, I was literally like, I rented $50,000 worth of equipment, like a red camera and everything, to shoot a commercial. And I taught myself how to use the camera the night before on YouTube. It was crazy, man. I had to jump over this fence too because I had no location scouts or anything. So we get to the location in LA. The gates are closed. It's our last day with the rental. Sun's going down. We have half an hour left. And I'm like, screw it. I'm jumping over. It's like a 12-foot fence, bro, at least. And I'm just scaling it with like 50 grand worth of equipment.
Wow.
It was crazy, bro. But those,
you guys didn't get caught.
No. We got the cut. We got the cut. We got the content. We pulled it off, bro. That was the closest I was ever. That was one of those moments where you put yourself in over your head, you know, but you figure it out.
Did the client like the
yeah. They loved it. It was great. And then we did like 4 more commercials for them. It was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were awesome. But all of that kind of just started ramping me up, giving me some traction, and then I get one of the messages back from a guy named David Meltzer, and. For those who don't know, David Meltzer is a big brand in the entrepreneurial space, top CEO and top 100 coach, and also former CEO of Samsung, and like big guy in the industry. And so when I got that reply from them, and they were asking about, hey, we're actually adding people in-house to our team. You know, if you're interested, like, we'd love your work and blah, blah, blah. We'd love to meet with you. And so at first I still try to contract him under my company.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, I'm not letting my baby go, you know, like,
yeah.
But they're like, no, listen, we're looking in-house. And, okay, I'll meet with you guys. And I went down there, and bro, instantly I was like, I saw David come in and out of like 2 interviews, a podcast, and like another meeting in like 30 minutes. It was crazy. This guy was just moving. And I was like, wow. And I remember just sitting there in the office, and they give me the offer after we talk and we have our meeting. They're like, well, we like you, blah, blah, blah. We want to hire you. And I had an offer on the table. I already had it booked to fly with Dan Fleischman the next week to Thailand to go film with him.
You already met Dan before you met David.
I actually hadn't met Dan yet. I knew his team, and his team connected me to them.
Got it.
It was actually Ty Lopez's guys. that connected me to Dan.
Got it.
And they randomly were like, hey, we have this big entrepreneur that you need somebody in Thailand. So I was like, cool.
Mhm.
But I didn't know it was Dan at the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I actually got to tell Dan that story years later. But in that office, I literally messaged back and I was like, hey man, I can't go to Thailand. I'm accepting this position. And I started the next day with David. And I don't know why, but they asked me too. They're like, hey, do you have any upcoming travel or anything? And I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I didn't want to waste a day, bro. I was ready to be in there. Like,
What changed? You went from like being an entrepreneur in a way of like doing these projects for these clients, commercials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What changed with David that made you want to go in-house?
I had to ask myself the question, is working with this guy going to get me to my goals faster than trying to do it on my own?
And what were those goals?
I wanted everything. I wanted to build businesses. I wanted to speak on stages. I wanted to build brand later on. I wanted to make money. You know, like
Yeah.
I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to be him. And I think just seeing that he was like that role model, that mentor.
Mhm.
It was that question. It was like I had to swallow my pride because like I wanted to build, but when I saw the way he was moving, I knew. I was like, wow, like this guy is he's playing a different game,
Mhm.
and he's 50 years old. Like the dude already had made over $100 million, lost it, and then made it back in less time. Like this guy's forgotten more than I've even learned at that point, you know. And he's worked with the biggest influencers, entertainers, athletes, like. So it had a lot to do with who he was. Also, the fact that he has such a big purpose. His mission in life is to empower over 1 billion people to be happy.
Mhm.
Like that's his whole mission in life. Like
Yeah.
really, really just purposeful dude. But yeah, that was a really hard decision to make. I didn't want to let go of the business, especially when I was finally getting traction.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like, all right, like. I didn't go into it thinking of it like a job either. Like I went into it and I was like, this is a mentorship. So I knew in my head there was an end date, you know.
And what did they need at the time?
Media coordinating.
I see.
Yeah. So I was the third of a 3-person team. Head of media. We had our main editor, and then I filled in with all the short form content and podcast filming, like anything really. And I did a lot of workflow stuff back then, and yeah. So it was like it was my first splash into the world and to see what their head of media was doing, what their systems are like, and like all and just really playing at that level, because it was like, all right, I was playing with all these other, you know, the thing too that changed it is I realized I didn't really want to work around the people I was working around. Like, no offense to them, but I didn't want to work around these YouTubers and these entertainers and influencers style. I wanted to be around people that I could learn from and work with and be able to, that I can gain value from. Because you spend so much time with them. You spend so much time going through the content and everything. Like,
Right.
you know, so if I'm spending 8 hours a day listening to Dave just funnel information and him talking to some of the smartest people in the world, and that's my job, is to listen to all that,
Right.
I'm literally learning and all of that. Like an immediate position, especially back then as an editor, there's nobody in the company that will learn faster than somebody that was editing all the content.
You were like literally absorbing every single thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it transformed me, bro. Like literally, I started completely changing my life, my habits. Like I don't really talk about it, but I was complete degenerate for like 6 years after high school. Like I'm talking 3, 4, 5 nights a week, completely belligerent, coming home because I was so upset that life wasn't what I wanted it to be. You know, I was like, I'm 18. Why aren't I a millionaire yet?
Yeah.
You know, like
Wonder why.
it was supposed to happen by now, you know, but I was so lost, dude. I had terrible habits. I wasn't taking care of my health. I didn't really exercise much. I was drinking like crazy. I had my ego and pride that had to work on me a lot. Like he just showed me what to start. Like his main thing was teaching you how to take inventory of your values. He put so much emphasis on values. And it made me realize, and I started using this framework. Like I still know his framework, like in the back of my head, like for inspiration, accountability, empathy, and he has this whole framework where he starts to break down your personal values, your experiential values, your receiving values, your giving values, right? What do you want to give? What do you want to receive? What do you want to experience? And what's personal to you, right? So every way of breaking it down. And then he has rules like do it now, or student of your calendar, where now you're studying your time, and there's 3 things you study in your time: the activity you have, the white space in your calendar, and your sleep, right? And so everything, he would start breaking down all these frameworks, all these formulas of what I would start to implement in my life, daily routines, morning, especially those. Like that's where he kind of got my ego a little bit.
Yeah.
Is he was like 52, bro, like a freaking robot. 4 a.m. every day, meditate, read, workout, on it. Coaching calls on the way to the office, walk into the office, 8 a.m. straight on the IG live. And then next to me, I'm just like, dude, this guy's moving. And he still moves like that to this day, like if not faster. Bro, it's insane. And it completely, one, inspired me, but two, challenged me. It made me think like, do I even have what it takes? Like if that's what it takes to be like, do I even have what it takes?
Yeah.
And it challenged me in a great way. I was like, okay, I got to work on myself. And so that's what led up into like 2020, especially going into COVID. Like, you know, the world was a really scary place at the time and I didn't know where to look, right? And what I should be doing. And, you know, I was getting very distracted because it's like, how do you focus on work and everything else and life, moving it forward?
Yeah.
All
The
this
world's
is going
ending,
on.
yeah.
Like, how do you focus on that, you know? And, you know, through that though, going into it, I was like, all right, I made a promise to myself. I'm like, I'm going to come out of this better than I've ever been before. And that's exactly what I did. Like I that year I ended up meditating over 100 hours. I read like 15 books. I'd never read a book cover to cover before that. I ran over 200 miles that year. I archived myself. Like I was sleeping on my dad's couch at the time too. And I literally was like, I have videos of me on the couch, like, hey, this can be my story one day. And I'm showing the couch in the background and everything, and my little desk right there, and my little notes and my whiteboard. And, you know, but that's where every day, 4 a.m., nonstop on this little couch apartment. And I was going like almost 200 days straight, like streaks, like without breaking, non-negotiables, like I had like 8 non-negotiables, 4 a.m. every day. Like it was just nonstop. Like I was on a mission to change my life because especially my family was going through a lot at the time. Financial struggles. My dad was going back and forth on starting to get into like disability because his back was given out for work. And so it was like the first time I really started, especially being around Dave, it opened my eyes too. Not that I looked down onto my family, but I started to see, okay, I see why we're in the positions we are. I see why we struggle with certain things, whether it's financial or foundations in our family or the habits that we have. Like I started to see, this is our fault, you know? And I realized that we could change as well. So that's where that change agent came from. I was like, all right, I'm going to transform myself into it. So now if you ever speak to anyone that knows me from like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, like they'll tell you like I'm unrecognizable to the person that I was back then. Like, and they'll say it, like I had somebody say this to me recently, but like literally it says, you're so unrecognizable to the person you were, like in the best way possible. And I was like, wow.
That was good.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you, he was a completely different guy. And thankfully being around somebody like David opened my eyes to it and fired me up enough to do something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
From that experience with Dave, what are the biggest things that you learned about, you know, how you look at marketing, about how you just, you know, as a marketing coordinator, like looking at his brand, or even just like, you know, you talk about a lot his business stuff, his values, you know. What was some of the biggest things that you learned through that time?
Dude, the biggest things was my personal development, like more than anything, because his frameworks on, his framework was gratitude, empathy, accountability, and inspiration. So I had a framework to now think through it in mind, because very early on in the entrepreneur personal development journey, I feel like they're one and the same, but it's like, you first got to work on your systems, you know, your internal systems. I had to do a lot of reprogramming with my identity, you know, especially people who grow up with that, with parents who either always, you know, look down on them or push them down. And that's why you get a lot of people who deal with like worthiness or anxiousness or any depression. It's like there's a lot of programming that we don't really realize it, but from childhood gets to us. And there's a lot of unlearning we have to do. So if anything, I think the biggest thing is it made me aware. It gave me the awareness. I was able to see for the first time, like, oh crap, you know, I got to change. And I was able to see the path of like, all right, I just got to build these habits. You know, it's because I was reading Atomic Habits at the time too. And it had a big change on me. Yeah. Where I realized, oh my gosh, everything simplified down. Like anything in my life that I want to do simplifies down to the habits. Like
in the actions.
Yeah. Like it's, and then how it breaks it down from trigger to cue to response, right?
Mhm.
And how to actually build and break habits. So I got super into metacognition,
Mm.
understanding the our awareness of our thoughts and thought patterns. Like
Mhm.
that's where I really got interested, and I started to see where okay, my brain's trying to go this way, or very early on, like you can let yourself get very emotional about little things, right?
Mhm.
And you might hold it on, but then you get better and then better, and then now you're to the point where like you could have 6 fires going on, and I could sit here like nothing's going on, like it
Right.
starts to build those muscles. And I always say this because I think the things that are the skills that are most overlooked are the soft skills. Everyone tries to look at the hard skills and the talents and all this deep dive on strategy and specialty, but it's truly the soft skills more than anything. It's the character. Do you have grit? Do you have persistence? Can you get up after you fall? Like, will you show up even when you don't want to? Will you give your best? Like, your actual best, not just sandbag best because you don't want to do it. Like,
Right.
it's most of those character traits that, especially after listening to, I don't know, 1,000 podcasts probably plus or editing or however many, um, after a while, they all sound the same. Like,
Mm.
if you dwindle it down, the person is talking about persistence, consistency, grit,
Yeah.
resilience. Like it's all the soft skills. It's the same thing.
Mhm.
But it also makes it really cool because then you're like, all right, let me just build on those.
Yeah.
If you can build on those and you're just someone who just can't be bought or their will to win cannot be bought, and you wake up and you just must be what you can be is what Dave used to call it.
Mhm.
You make up with that must be what you can be attitude. I must be what I can be. And that like I before that I never had that drive. Like I never had
Mhm.
that inspiration. I didn't want to be the best at anything really when I was younger. Like I liked things. I loved skateboarding and DJing and all that kind of stuff, but like even in sports, I played soccer growing up, but I never cared to be the best, And it wasn't until I got there where I was like I want to be the best in the world at this, like at
Mhm.
what I do. And still, I feel that so deeply now where I'm like, dude, I want to be the best at what I do in the way that I do it. You shape uniquely myself,
Mhm.
as who I am. And, but I didn't have that really before until that drive got sparked through Meltzer. So he was such a transformative time in my life, and especially because we were on phone calls almost every single day. Like he would call
Oh,
and
wow.
check in with us. It was like 5-minute phone calls, but every day you get to talk to this guy,
Mhm.
and every day I had questions for him. And I remember driving him down to the airport one time, and I knew I had 45 minutes in the car with him, and I'm like, oh, bro, like, and the whole time I'm asking him questions, and then I like run out of questions, and he's like, is that it? And I'm like, no, 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 hold on, I got more, hold on. And I was like, and I'm trying to think of more there, and then after that, it was just like I didn't even have more. I just had to like pour. I was like, bro, and that's when I told him I was like, I want to be on stages, I want to be in front of the camera, I want to do all this and blah blah blah. And he just gave me really clear coaching back, and he's like, you will, but you just got to focus on this, this, and this. And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
done. And he's like, all right. And it was cool just to do that. And I mean, now I still get to see him everywhere, and I can call him whenever, and he's like a big brother,
Yeah.
like he's just freaking Dave. And
Yeah.
I love him. And but yeah, that was such a transformative year just because how he rubbed off on me.
Do you think everyone should have a mentor like that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see why you wouldn't want that.
Mhm.
Like I personally like I try to keep as many people around me that are way, way, way ahead of me. Um, and not like in a way where I'm like, oh, I want to have all the richest people, but like even like anyone who's any other area, fitness wise or spiritually or mentally,
Mm.
it's like, or somebody who's really good in their marriage or family life. Like I try to look for people who sit in the position that I want to be in, and I try to learn from them.
Mm.
Um, Jeff is another one. Like I get to learn from him. Like I get to learn from these business owners that sit in a position that I want to be in. So, um, or yeah, same thing with like the marriage thing. It's like I'll like you always want that person because they're gonna have the wisdom and the expertise to tell you exactly where all the landmines are and tell you where not to step.
Mhm.
Right? They paid all the dummy tax. They already paid all the hard prices and
Yeah.
hard learned lessons. Right? And it's like I heard a quote once. It's kind of I'm gonna butcher it, but it was like um, smart people learn from mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others.
Mm.
So it's like it takes wisdom to see, oh, you see what happened to him? Go that way. Like,
Yeah.
so I think it's great to have mentors. Like they're guide rails around you. I had a friend call it his board of advisors. He
Mm,
has like 4 to 5 guys around him that are like his board of advisors. Those are the people in each area of his life that he goes to.
right.
Each of those pillars of his life. So I think I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so from Dave, you introduced to Jeff,
Yeah.
correct? Which is where you are now with Everbowl, and Jeff is the founder of Everbowl.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
helped him build his brand from basically nothing
Yeah.
to where he is now speaking on so many big stages. I mean, multiple millions of views on all the platforms and stuff
Mm.
like that.
Mm.
Talk about that transition. Like, what was it like navigating from Dave to Jeff?
So actually, I did a hop in between.
Mm,
I navigated from Dave, and I actually got an opportunity to work with another guy named Ed Mylett. This now was a different. I left media, so Ed is from the insurance industry. He built his wealth there, did very well, and basically was trying to get back into business. This time, though, he was building a team of 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs.
mm-hmm,
And when I heard about this and I got connected, I was like, bro, I need to be in this circle. Like,
mm-hmm,
same thing. There's 8 of these dudes that all sit where I want to be at. Like, they're going to sharpen the crap out of me. Let me put myself in this circle, you know? And so I talked to Dave about it. Actually, the first time I brought it up, I was on the phone with him and I was like, hey, if I ever get an idea of like transitioning, like, when should I tell you? And he was like, as soon as it comes up. And I was like, all right, do you have a minute? And he's like, hold on, let me put my AirPods in. And we talk about it. And he was just honestly like, I don't know if I was naive or not scared, but I was like, I had to be honest with him, you know, like, and he was just like, you know, dude, I knew you weren't going to be here doing what you were doing forever. He's like, I saw it. He's like, you know, and he was like, I can help you and connect you with this and that. And he was just very helpful with that. And, you know, our head of media wasn't as joyful about it as he was, but you know, even after doing the 2 weeks and putting in my 2 weeks, and the last day, all the way up to the last day, I worked all the way through hard for him, and we had our exit interview, and I gave him a canvas of this like poem that he's big on. It's called the Don't Quit poem, but I basically got it printed for him and like gave it to him in the office and everything, and yeah, it was really cool. The fact that he was really so willing to help me transition,
mm-hmm.
even though he was basically losing in this slot, you know, and you know, it's amazing that he was willing to help me, and you know, we kept a great relationship after that. But yeah, and then I spent almost 2 years in insurance with Ed, running and gunning with him.
Way different than media.
Completely different,
Yeah.
man. Oh my gosh, like media is natural for me. Like I could do that. Like I could pick up a camera or pick up tech or anything, and like I could figure it out.
Right.
Sales, oh my goodness, bro. It was like a fish trying to climb a tree. Like it was so unnatural for me, you know? And it was just because like I'm naturally very introverted. I can be best friends with my computer and be happy, you know? And
Yeah.
and now I got to talk to people and be all relational now all of a sudden. And, you know, so it felt ingenuine for me at the beginning. So I had to almost learn how to, I don't want to say it in that way. I almost had to learn how to care enough, you know, of like you truly like, in order to get good at sales, like you truly have to care, at least to do it in a really morally, I don't know, a morally right way, I guess you could say. But because there's solution-based sales really is where I try to sit, you know, not the one where it's like hard, high ticket. Like, sure, people have great skill there too, but I was looking at it like, let me solve a problem, you know, and how do I lay this up? So it taught me to do it in a way where it's very ethical, solution-based sales. And I had to learn how to, you still have to learn the tactics and everything, but mostly it was like, oh, like this is just human connection. Like,
Yeah.
I really just got to connect with this person. If I can help them and I can solve the problem, great. And that's secondary. But the main goal is just connect with the person, you know? Once I figured that out, I was like, wow, like, oh, this is a completely different ball. And it started to change. But that took probably, I don't know, 200 calls of me falling on my face. And because it was all on Zoom, but I was doing back to back to back. I was doing like 9 appointments a day, and just like 9 hours of Zoom calls. And so I sharpened that scale pretty quickly and started getting pretty good, and started scaling a team up to like 25 licensed agents that were all just busting out appointments with me. And like, it was really cool, man. You know, I got to speak on the biggest stage being almost 2,000 people. I went to Ed's house. I got to get a lot of recognition from him and coaching. I still have like audio messages that I saved from him where he used to like pour into me, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a very cool experience because I got to learn how to track the KPIs for my business, how to do onboarding, how to lead, really like leadership. It taught me a lot of, because then I'm this 24-year-old, I think 24-year-old going into 25-year-old. And I have people that are like, I don't know, 35, 30s, like
Your
that are
team.
in my team. And not only that, but the majority of the people I'm sitting with are like twice my age too. So I had to really get good, you know, because if
Right.
not, it's like, all right, you got this kid here. What the heck does he know?
Right.
So, dude, I went down the rabbit hole of like personal finance and like really understanding like economics. And like, I was like, I need to be on my P's and Q's. And on top of that, I was like, I truly want to make sure that I'm doing good for people.
Right.
So it was definitely a really great experience because I walked out of it with the skill of sales and leadership and speaking. I didn't realize I liked speaking until and I was training in front of like a couple hundred people a week. And I was just training people. And then I would do like, business overviews for people. Like we'd have a crowd of new people come in and I would just do a whole presentation, lay it out for our business and basically try to get people in.
At scale.
Yeah, at scale. And so we'd have like 50, 100 people, a room in there, and then new people that you just got to, by the end of this, you got to get them to like you and be bought in. You know? So it was definitely, it put me in a lot of those uncomfortable situations. But it was so good for me. It grew, it forced me to grow. And it was probably one of the more challenging 2 years of my life. Being that I was just really trying to figure out, like I was just getting by for the first months. I had less than 6 months to of runway to my name when I left Dave. And then not only that, but I wasn't even licensed in the industry yet. So I still had time to, like, I jumped like early, you know? So I also learned, you know, the right ways to jump into business and, you know, and the fact that it was the first time where it's like, hey, you don't kill, you don't eat, you know, since my agency. And it was back into that mode of like, oh, wow. Like, you know, you almost get that because when you get back in-house, a lot of times what people do is you start to go at a comfortable pace.
You're kind of slowing down a little bit.
Because when you're the entrepreneur, dude, it's like you don't kill, you don't eat. You have that urgency. You wake up.
You gotta be on.
You wake up with that pit in your stomach in the morning, and you gotta move, bro. It's like I gotta make.
If not, you're dead.
Yeah, literally, bro. But it's true because it's not. If you're not, you're dead. And I think that that I try to keep that urgency, even being in house. Like I have that urgency now. I think just sort of learning that, but yeah, man, it sharpened me in that way where it put me back into like, all right, put him back into the world. Let's see what he's made of, you know, after learning the stuff with Dave. And so the Andrew, even though he struggled there, the kind of guy or man that was operating in this business was completely different than my first business. First business, I was still so distracted. I didn't know how to, I had months where I would make like $8,000, bro. And like in my first year of my business, and I would blow it. Like I would end up, I was broke all the time. I didn't know how to spend my money or save my money or anything. I would spend it on drinking and going. I was still partying all the time. So I like wasn't really focused, you know? And so it was completely different than that guy. So already I saw completely transitioning to a new person. I mean, I went from the degenerate guy going into it, and now I'm speaking on this stage in front of 2,000 people leading these teams. Like, you know, it was for my own identity to a belief of what's capable of what's possible. Because every single morning, bro, I'm not kidding. Like every single morning, I would sit there and think of the walking out on stage, and I just saw and feel the crowd, and like every day, dude. And it was during a cold shower too, so I was like, I would make myself sit through it. But and funny enough, just like 4 months later, bro, like last minute, I got the opportunity to. And I shared the stage with Ed Mylett. I shared it with John Gordon was another speaker. Erwin McManus was there too. I actually went right after John Gordon, and it was dude, it was so bad because I was like, how am I supposed to follow up? Like this guy is literally the number 6 speaker in the world, and I'm supposed to go after him. He gave me like a knuckles as I was walking up. I was like, all right, but he did help me when he was there though, because I was like, my heart was beating right before I was about to walk up on that stage with he was going. And when he was on stage though, he was like, he said this thing. He's like, anytime you have fear, just fight it with serving. And like, I'm sitting back there. So I'm like, okay, I got fear. Like I got these radars going up. I got 2 minutes before I go on, and I'm trying to rehearse my speech. And I'm like, And then I had to just stop, and I was like, I asked myself, it was like, I was looking at the back of the heads of everyone because I was in the back of the room. They're like micing us up. And then if even just one person in this crowd gets something out of my talk, like gets impacted, is that enough for me? And I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, even if one person, I'm okay with that. Yeah. And because I remember just thinking about a guy I met, one of the young dudes that was just full of inspiration, right? Just getting into it.
Yeah.
And he inspired me because he was looking at us like, wow, you guys are so cool. But I was like,
You're
he
inspiring
was
them.
the guy
Yeah.
that like I thought of when I went up there. So as soon as my foot hit the stage and the mic hit my hand, the nerves completely went away, and I threw out my speech too. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna let it flow. And the outline of my speech still came out of me, but it came out in a completely different, natural way. And it was one of my favorite days, experiences. And now that's something that I know later on I'll love to do a lot of.
Yeah. What did you tell yourself when you're encountering these situations that are like, you might not want to do it, or you might not, it's foreign to you? What did you tell yourself in those situations?
It really was, I would just learn, like, kind of like that story of like John Gordon right before, because it was just showing up for it. Because I'm telling you, when they, I'll tell you this story because this will explain kind of how it feels. It was me and my buddy. We were at home. It was my business partner, and we're chilling like on the couch and something. And this is when I got the text from one of the leaders that was like, "Hey, like I got you a spot to speak at the event next week." And I'm sitting there looking at it, and I show my buddy, and he's like, and I'm running around the apartment. Oh, bro, I'm speaking. Yeah. And then it kind of sunk in. I was like, oh crap, I'm speaking. And dude, and instantly I was like freaking out because I'm like, I don't have a speech. It ended up being like 2 days later. It was a very last minute. So I wrote my speech on the plane out there because it was at Scottsdale. So I'm writing my speech as I'm on the plane out there. I rehearse it like 3 or 4. I rewrite it like 4 times when I get to the apartment, and it was nerve wracking because it was a 3-day event, and of course I was on the 3rd day. So all 2 days I have to sit there with the knowing that I would have rather got it out of the way and like, all right, cool. But like knowing that that's coming, so each day I was like kind of just each night I would go back and I would look through the notes and stuff and look back through it. But like there were so many of those times, and still all the time I still get into those situations where I'm nervous, I'm scared, I don't want to do this, and you just do it anyways. Like you just you don't let the fear stop you from doing it, because once you're up there, you have no choice but to lean in.
Yeah.
Or once you put yourself out there, like even me filming getting the $50,000 worth of equipment. Once I paid for that, like I had to figure out how to use it.
Right.
So it's almost like putting yourself into the situation. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they'll do it. They'll jump off the bridge and build the ladder on the way down, kind of thing.
You sink or swim.
Yeah.
And you're not sinking.
Yeah.
Right.
And the more of those like situations you start to put yourself in, one, I think the more confident you start to become in your own abilities, and the more aware you start to become of your limitations too, because you realize where your weaknesses are, you realize where your strengths are, and you start to learn I think through that every time you put yourself in those situations, because that's where you really truly get to know who a person is, when you see their back against the wall. What do they do when their back's against the wall?
Right.
Like that's where you can see their character all the way through to integrity and work ethic, to what they will willing to accomplish, or how they can push themselves to think creatively or anything else.
Right.
To do it and I just put myself in those back against the wall situations. A lot of it too, I grew up with those around me. They was just with money problems, anything else. Growing up, I already had I had that. My back was against the wall thing. So I was used to almost running, but later on I had to figure out how to switch it off, because you can't always be in survival mode. It's not good for you. You'll burn out. You'll exhaust yourself. You're wasting way more energy than you need to. You go from that survival to like in a thrive mode. Like, we're here to grow in a healthy way, and we're doing these things and we're scaling up our capacity to handle more. It's understanding how to have that relationship with stress.
Right.
Because it's just understanding. It's just chemicals that your body's telling you emotionally what you're feeling. Because it's not like you don't literally have 1,000 pounds on you, right? But it could feel like that,
right?
Because in here you're all thinking everything, all your bandwidth is taking up all of this. But like the second you learn how to stop clearing that and stop letting all this other stuff like dwelling on all these things that are trying to pull you down,
Mm-hmm.
and starting to look at, Steve Jobs calls it the noise versus the signal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like focusing on just the signal, that 20% that's going to move it, that's going to change, that's going to bring you the outcome you're looking for, whatever you're pursuing, And I think that's what really started to shift during my time that way, and just really taught me how to start operating even with high pressure situations,
Mm-hmm.
like, because that's where you learn to um, um, control your thoughts a lot of times, because you have to be able to quiet down your mind when if you're in fight or flight, right, and your mind's just going off and this and that, or um, it's hard for people to get back to center a lot of times in that, especially with high pressure situations. But the more you put yourself in high pressure situations, the more you're used to that. And it's no longer high pressure, You're
Right.
just like, oh, I've been through this already. I understand what this weight feels like, and I know how to take it on without it letting it crush me.
Right.
Because you see a lot of people get really hurt there, struggle with that because they just hold on to it so
You just
much.
hold on to the weight.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
hold on to the weight, and
That's
it's
when you
just,
spiral down and
yeah,
do all that
exactly,
stuff.
bro.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes back to your identity, your belief in yourself, what you
Mhm.
think about yourself truly matters. Like, I read a book back then called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
Mm.
And it taught me how to talk to myself way nicer.
Yeah.
Because I used to be very hypercritical on myself, always beating down on myself, like really just hard on myself. And then I remember a line in the book said, if you talk to your friends the way do you talk to yourself, would they still be your friends?
That's
And
a good
I was
line.
like, oh, damn, like they would hate me,
Yeah.
And that's where I started to really like understand, okay, like I gotta understand how I talk to myself. I gotta
Yeah.
understand what I'm feeding into myself, my belief systems,
Mm-hmm.
And it was just that's the hard work, business and strategy and talent, content, all that other stuff. Like, that's easy. The hard work is truly like working on yourself.
Yeah.
To build yourself into the person that can handle all that and do it in a way that, is proficient.
I mean, that self-talk is so real. I feel like it's
Mhm.
like evaluating like who is it like that are saying those stuff to you.
Right.
Right. And it's like, aren't you supposed to be in the same team if you're like in your own body,
Right.
in your own mind,
Right.
right?
For sure.
Why
Yeah.
are you not even in
Why
your
are you
own
talking
team?
crap on the team?
On the team, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah. Help them get better.
Yeah. Oh man,
That's
that's
true.
good.
Yeah.
And how did you transition out of insurance?
Forced. I had so me and my buddy had just moved into a new office, new apartment. We were scaling and everything, and then not even a month in, dude, I get a call, and they let me know that half of our team got poached in a single day, like instantly. And I'm sitting there like, no freaking way. So income gets cut in half, and I'm like, we got to build a business quick. And I'm running, bro. And I remember we still were running out of time. So I sold my car even. I was like, I don't need to drive anywhere. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I can take these calls. I can stay home. I don't care. I can build a business back. I sold my car just to pay for a little bit more rent, and still couldn't make it back in time, and ended up having to move home at 26 years old, starting with like less than $500 to my name, no car, barely enough to fill up a car with like clothes and little personal items, but like starting back at ground zero, it felt like. I went home and I literally was like, had to restart. I wrote on the whiteboard. I was like, what am I good at? I was like, let me just start there. Because I heard this quote that was like, you got to look, where's the most amount of momentum with the least amount of resistance in your life, right? And for me, it was always media. I was like, I worked 10 times harder in sales than I ever did in media. And I went way further in media than I ever did in sales, And I was like, what would happen if I put my 100% into media where I'm naturally gifted? What would that look like? And so that was after I wrote down on the whiteboard. And then I had some brands that I started in between, another clothing line, another business, just quick startups. And then funny enough, Jeff and I reconnect over his story. He posted something about looking for like an editor and videographer. And I was like, maybe. And I was like, just message to see, And weirdly though, he followed me like 3 days before, like followed me back. It was just random. And I was like, okay. And so I messaged him. I was like, I don't know if you remember me from Meltzer's days. And he's like, oh, I do. And then he's like, can you be at my office on Monday? I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, I can. And we came here and met. I ended up putting together like a 20-page presentation for him.
Before you came in to meet with him?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I presented to him when I sat for the interview.
Mhm.
Because he was like, "Yeah, come with some ideas." And I just came out of sales, bro. I'm not just gonna come with ideas. I'm gonna
a
pitch
plan.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna be sold.
You're from insurance, bro,
exactly, bro. Like, yeah, you're not walking out of there without an offer. Like,
Yeah.
So I put together this whole pitch deck, 20 page, not a pitch deck, presentation, reviewing his brand and giving him brands. I literally was like, hey, I calculated down to the minute. Literally, I calculated based off his average views. I calculated an hour 15 of his time per month would average based on his average views and how many posts to 200,000 views a month average without growing. So I knew I could turn an hour and 15 minutes of his time into 200,000 views, and I put it right in our presentation. Then I did analytics on his brand, and I showed him how an agency once bought followers for him and the other brand. And I showed him the exact day, and he's like, yeah, I didn't know what they were doing. And yeah, and so we're talking about it. So I'm showing him like the under of his brand, and I'm showing him every little tweak and thing that I would do to his brand and what I would change and how I would go. And I went and analyzed all the top performing content. I put it in. I said, you need more of this. And literally I had this whole plan together. And he was like, cool. And we met, talked about it, and it was great. And like, okay, we'll talk. And not even like, I think 2 days later, he called me. He's like, listen, I like you. You're hired and you brought me on. We're going to give you what you have, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and that was it. But I knew walking out of there that day. I was
And
like,
you're like, yeah.
yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Because
Yeah.
at first I wasn't even sure if I wanted it. And then when we sat down, he told me, he was like, listen, I'm looking for somebody to quarterback my brand. And that was the trigger, the buzzword I was looking for, right? I'm like, oh yeah, like that's what I'm trying to do. Like I'm not here to be an editor. Like I don't want to be an editor. I don't want to be a photographer. Like I want to run the show, you know? And that's what he was looking for. And I told him, I didn't know he was looking for it, but I told him, I'm like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Like I'm not corporate. Like I don't work like an employee. I don't like it. That's just, I'm an entrepreneur, dude. I don't know how else to tell you. And, I didn't know he was looking for that, but at the time, cause I just felt like I had to be honest with him,
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And yeah, but then 2 days later, yeah, it's like, you're hired on. And since then we just hit the ground running.
Yeah. Wow. And what was like, did he have a lot of input, or you more so like just running the whole thing, like on everything? What was that conversation like with Jeff in the beginning before he gets to where he is today?
Which one? Like,
You get hired.
mhm.
What does that first meeting be like?
Well, it's funny. He was like, let's go with your strategy. The presentation I showed him, he's like, let's go with that.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay. So I started building it.
Yeah.
It does change. I'm going to say both. I have a lot of freedom with creative direction, but the things he cares about a lot, So he's going to be on it about these certain things. This is the standard I expect here. And if it's not up to that, we're not doing it, And so he has those few things where he's like, this is where I need it. But then he has the other areas where he lets me run free with brand strategy, creative. And he's just like, you tell me what to do. Like, I don't care. Like, you should be telling me exactly what we're doing here, and it leaves it in my hands, which is the cool part that I like, because same thing. I enjoy operating like an entrepreneur, even though I'm internal, like an entrepreneur, I get to operate like that. Like I get to still think about how can I leverage our resources, our relationships to get here, open this or do this, and strategy. And, because I love business. I love the business side of it.
Yeah.
And so and for me, I was like, yeah. And he was looking for a partner, bring me in on everything else. And like, okay, like this could be a job I could be into, And it was funny because as an entrepreneur, especially, the last thing on my mind, the worst, more than my business failing, the worst thing that could happen is I go get a job.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, worse than your business failing is that you got to go and get a job. That is the ultimate failure. So in my head, that was the ultimate failure, and I was trying to avoid as much as possible. And funny being, later on, it ended up being the thing that opened up all the other doors, right? It's always like that thing you're avoiding,
Yeah.
is the thing that's actually the pathway through to where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
But it took me being humbled. Like life had to humble me in a lot of ways because I had a lot of pride, dude. I had the pride beat out of me. I had a lot of pride and ego, and and I still, there's times where I still have to work on it a lot because like certain ways of not really of like I have this big ego, but I used to have a lot of pride and like if anyone around me challenged me, it was like, all right, I'll show you. Like it's like, oh, you don't think I can do this? Like, all right, let's find out. And dude, but that's where I would zone in and mission out. But it was like it's the burnout kind of like where you're doing it to prove something. You're not doing it because you love it and you want to do it and you're doing it to try to serve the people around you, whatever. It was doing it just because out of ego. You wanted to prove something that, oh, yeah, you're the best or it wasn't just out of this pure
stroking the ego.
Yeah, exactly. It was just ego stroke. It wasn't for the pure love of the game, you know? And so that one I had a thing got worked out of me and and it's a much different way that I operate now compared to then. Like I try to operate so much more out of love. Like truly, like how can I serve all the people around me? And I just love getting better at what I do. I love just today we had got to brainstorm on a lot of AI stuff and like, dude, like we were just going back and learning stuff. And like, I love like where the industry's going, all the opportunity. I love getting better. I love strategy. I love seeing things work. I love the impact that you can have. Like, the relationships and cool people, all the creative people. Like, dude, it's just, it's much more out of passion than ego now. And usually when you do that too, when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, like
100%.
Like this doesn't feel like work. Just,
Yeah. We've been working all day and we're still here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally. And like, but we wouldn't change it,
Yeah.
If we could choose to be anywhere else right now, we'd probably
be here.
We have the free will to be anywhere else, right now. We could be at the beach in San Diego, but we're here indoors, like at 6 p.m. filming this podcast,
Right. I want to ask, when you were doing your work, especially with Jeff in the beginning, right? It's like an open canvas. And a lot of people get intimidated by that. Like when somebody's like, just tell me what to do. A lot of people be like, it's like a big like gasp of how did you navigate that feeling or even like start taking the ownership for running a campaign like that?
Yeah.
What did you even look at first?
Well, for me, one thing that a personal strength for me is I love strategy. Like you'll see me whiteboard all day. I love strategy. So first and foremost, my head goes to the strategy. Like, all right, I need to set the foundation for this and our strategy straight. And then we just execute the plan. Basically build the plan, execute the plan. Right. I saw it in two different parts. But also because I came from the agency and sales, I was able to ask him more questions. Because when you first start working with a founder or somebody else who's not very, I guess, very new to the content creator kind of space, because he never had a brand before that,
Yeah.
It's like you guys sometimes speak a different language, and you have to figure out what they actually want, because one day it could be engagement, one day it could be reach, one day it could be sales, one day like what is the goal of the brand? And so it's kind of figuring that out, pulling those answers from them, because now I have to get data. So I'm getting data from him, right? Because I can't just go into the room and build it out myself. I got to ask him, hey, what are you passionate about? What do you like to? Would you rather help this people? Would you rather have a community of 100 people or 1,000 people, right? 100 people pay you 10 grand each, 1,000 people pay you 100 a month each. Like, what would you rather? Like, I need to learn what fits him.
How did you come up with those questions?
Well, ChatGPT wasn't out yet, so actually it was, but I didn't use it yet. It was really brand new. No, I just thought about them. I just, because I sat there and I would think about, okay, how can we monetize this brand? And, how does he want to build it? Like, what are his goals? Like, why does he want to build it? And so in the beginning, it was kind of like understanding that. And after that, I was just building out the assets, like building the brand visual, the identity, picking out all the colors and fonts and building out the website. And, and I think partially it was just, I liked attacking big projects. Like I told him, he was like, how do you work with a team? I was like, honestly, I work good with the team, but I work even better alone. Like leave me alone with my superpower in a room and I'll make something. Like I'll build stuff. Like I just leave me on a computer. I'll figure it out. I'll just go down these rabbit holes, the articles, YouTube, whatever I need to do to figure out what is the best path forward, And so like I leaned on a lot of that, just kind of starting to iterate, plan, and it's still like that. We had a call today and we're going through his complete brand strategy again, like the same things I was doing in the beginning, but it's just iteration, and it evolves. Because then I might build something that I think is the coolest thing ever and he does not care about it, or vice versa, right? And I'm like, hey, I built this little thing and I don't really care, and he's like, dude, let's use that, and like, so it's partially you two learning how to dance.
Yeah.
that's the main thing, I think, because then you got to learn the entrepreneur. You got to learn what they care about, because a lot of times they're very detail oriented, but they're going to be detail oriented to the things they care about, right? If they don't really care about the colors or the font, they're not going to spend much time on it,
Yeah.
you know. But if they really detail oriented on the way their smile looks, right, or that angle, or like, hey, I never want this type of copy. Like, I am not an influencer, you know. Like, there's certain things that you learn through working with people, and that's just domain expertise. You learn that over time. But I think that's the main thing of like learning each other, learning how to dance, because then you figure out how to do the no look pass, you know, where now it's like, hey, I need this and we need it tomorrow. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like, oh yeah, we with this. Oh yeah, hey, I have this guy coming in and we can move and we can do the no look pass now.
Yeah.
You know, much
it's the
easier.
chemistry.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like you learn to work with each other. You learn to dance. It's funny, when he hired me too, he's like, he told me that. He's like, this is gonna be like a little bit like dancing. He's like, we might step on each other's toes a little bit here and there, but we're learning how to dance. Yeah. You know? Because then you start to learn their standards, right?
Right.
Because
expectations
and how they operate.
How to communicate with them.
Yes. So you got to learn all the personality traits of, like, because especially with entrepreneurs like that, like the most successful people that I've worked with have been the hardest to work for. Not like internally, is just because their standards are so freaking high. And it's not hard, like, hey, they're always like negative or constantly pushing on you, but like, if their standards are here and you're operating at this level, like, they will not waste time to tell you. Like, they will tell you, hey, you're being mediocre and I need you to be up here. Like, I remember the first time that I started like getting distracted during COVID, and the first time David had to check me. And I went from doing really good, brought on and crushing it, and then I'm getting distracted during COVID trying to figure it out. And he calls me and basically straight up tells me, he's like, right now you're the weakest link on the team. He's like, luckily we have a really damn good team, so if you're on the team, it means you're really good. He's like, but right now you're the weakest link. And I remember taking that, and I remember him speaking on it a while ago before that, but he used to say, if I ever check you, it's because I believe in you. Otherwise I wouldn't waste my time. And so when he checked me, and I remember smiling because he had never checked me before that. And it was funny. It's a weird thing, you know, but it's like, he's checking me and I'm like, all right, he knows he wants me to do more. And I just thanked him. I was like, thanks for, you know, keeping me accountable. Thanks for talking to me. Thanks for challenging me. And I appreciate it. And not even the next month, I was like employee of the month and I crushed it. And I have all these videos of how he was like, that's when I went all in on like the calendar and my habits. And like, after he checked me on that one, it was like, okay, there's the fork in the road and there's two decisions to make. The one of the 6-year degenerate out of high school that went dead end jobs and partied his face off. And then the one that wants to be like this guy, you know, and be everything he can be. And like, I really had to make that decision, that hard cut. And it was hard because like Dave taught me another lesson called firing friends. He's like, certain people, he's like, you have to fire because they are not serving you in your life. And for me, I had hundreds of friends at colleges everywhere because that's all I did was party. And I had these friends everywhere, but they were all just party friends. And it was just the crowd that wasn't going to get me to where I needed to be. And that was probably the hardest part, the hardest one to execute. Because it wasn't like I texted friends like, hey, we're not friends anymore or anything, but like,
slowly let it fade.
Slowly, you gotta let it slow, and they hit you up and they're like, hey bro, come out. And sorry. Hey bro, come out. Sorry. Hey, we missed the old Andrew. And you get so much of that. And like, oh man, you're not fun anymore. I'm like, dude, stop working so hard. And I used to get offended sometimes. Like, I had friends who'd be like, stop working so hard. And I would just snap back. I'm like, don't ever tell me not to work hard on my dreams. But it was partially like, you start to see the differences in how you're trying to get yourself to think and to believe and to act and to behave. And, you know, you start to realize, man, I can't let myself get distracted and clouded so easily. Right. And your eye gets off the ball and you look back and you're like, wow, how did I end up here again? You know? Right. Like, so it really was figuring out how to put myself into the right circles, take myself out of the ones that weren't serving me, and just really just work on myself. Like, that was the biggest thing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Dang. So wild type of, like, I feel like you've gone through so much throughout and got you where you are now. Right? It's like, and this is just the beginning too of a new chapter. I feel
it feels like I'm just touching the
surface, right? Yeah. how do you think, like, with everything that's going on right now, talk about AI, all these different like new social media keep coming out, you know, and I
Yeah,
mean the
yeah, yeah.
changes. How do you think that'll impact you and your role, or even, you know, how you do things?
Yeah, man. That's a good question. It already is impacting me in a lot of ways. Like currently, the PR for it right now, currently, it's just sometimes still hard to fathom, but I can do over 600 or 460 posts a month single handedly, no outsource work, nobody else on editing, scheduling, copywriting, filming. Like it blows my mind. How much we can do. Because I remember editing for David just 5 years ago, where I had to one by one each subtitle
Mhm.
type every single one out, and like, dude, the most I could do of like, and I'm talking grinding was like maybe 3 videos a day.
Mhm.
And if it was over a minute, forget about it. Like, dude, it took you 2 days to do all the captions on it,
Right.
and now you press one button and any app could do it. Like,
Yep.
yeah, like it's crazy. And so it's changed what I focus on, and it's allowed me to focus more and more over the years on higher level stuff, higher level stuff. Like we talked
Mhm.
about earlier, the automate, delegate, or eliminate.
Mhm.
A lot of those things, like figuring out how can I scale, because as social media started to ramp up, so did the demand for content,
Mhm.
right? And now the demand for content is much higher than like whether as much content as there out there. We're actually undersourced on content. Like we have a lack of content out right now. Like most platform owners will tell you, like there's just they need more creators. There's more consumers than there are creators. So it's like there's still a lack there and so much opportunity on the upside, you
Mm.
know. And not only that, but it's never allowed such access for anyone in the world to mass media. Only the biggest news stations in the world had access to this much like attention,
Mhm.
basically. Even back then in newspapers, like it was never broadcasting radio was the first time you could actually do that on a mass scale. And now, but that was then you had to have a broadcast radio station. Like
Mhm.
you could literally open your iPhone right now and talk to 100 people on your story within 5 minutes.
You got hundreds of people,
Yeah,
thousands sometimes.
thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like that's just how easy it is to reach a ton of people. I mean, you
Mhm.
could post a video before this podcast is over and it could have thousands of views, right?
Yeah.
But imagine thousands of people in this room right now.
Yeah.
It's like that demand. It's so easy for us to overlook like what 1,000 people really is, or what
You wouldn't
500
even fit in
people.
this room.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, you can fit 500 people in this room. Like,
Yeah.
but it's crazy to think when we see those numbers. Like, oh man, like that sucks.
That's not a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The content demands are going through the roof. Strategy and creative, and um, I mean, if anything, I truly believe that creativity is going to be more important than ever.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, no matter what AI things you're using, it always comes back to the prompt. You got to teach the thing, right? So if human, interaction is still involved at any point in time, yes, this thing will be way more intelligent than any human on Earth, or all the human intelligence put one into one. Like it
Mhm.
will be smarter than us, right? It's just a matter of time as it learns and grows. But when there's a level playing field and execution is at the fingertips of anyone, what's left? The ideas.
Brain it.
Because before, right now, it's ideas are welcome, execution is worshipped.
Mhm.
What happens when execution becomes easy and anyone can execute? I have an idea, I talk it into this thing, this AI builds all of it. There's no barrier to entry for execution.
Yeah.
So what's left? Now you're back to the ideas. Well, do the ideas matter more now or no? Like, and you can ask chat to think creatively, but what's different than a human's creativity and imagination compared to an artificial intelligence that's based off of only the information that's been fed, you know?
Mhm.
And there's certain ways where I think artistic styles of doing business, of doing content, of doing um, strategy, like you can, like it's all an art, business can be an art. So I think that side of it, where creativeness and brand loyalty, I think is going to go through the roof too. Because if there's 50 other agencies that can do what I do at the hit of a prompt, or softwares that can do it, then why are they going to choose me? Because if somebody still wants to pay to do it, whether it's $20 subscription or not, like I still don't want to do it. I still want to pay someone, even though there's 50 people that can do it exactly the same,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who am I going to choose? Well, the one that I have relationship with, or that I feel attached to, or or it's gonna be the agents that do it for you.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So I don't know. I think right now too, we have to be really ready to pivot and change fast. Because if it goes towards agents and agents become the big thing, and now everybody's using agents for all the social media stuff, right? Okay, well we have to pivot fast. But what if like YouTube right now is changing their algorithms to not like AI content, right? So now that the platforms, if AI content starts going down that rabbit hole and all these AI creators start popping up, what happens to the platforms, right? They lose credibility. There's no credibility. And when there's no credibility, you lose interest, right? Like, all
everything is fake anyways.
It's fake anyway. I'm going to go on there, They start to lose interest. Now, none of the platform owners want that. No, they're right now. That's why cybersecurity is going crazy right now. And that part of it, I guarantee Meta's cracking down so hard on this AI stuff right now because it's a threat. It's a threat to their platforms.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all about, similar to like, when you watch a commercial and on the bottom it said, this is a paid actor.
Right.
You're going to see that now where this is AI. This is an AI actor, right? And you're going to have to verify all the videos you upload to make sure that they're not AI. It's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. I think we just have to be really ready to pivot and see the opportunities before they kind of get hit out of the park.
Yeah.
So right now it pays to be really close to the ground, to really hear the things that are coming up, to be in those subreddit groups, to be following all the people in that industry, because now you get to hear from the buzz around. You start to pick up the things and you start to learn that new tool. Oh my gosh, like this one, like so. I think right now everybody just has to be really willing to learn to try things fast and fail fast, really fast. Like that's kind of it. You got to figure out what's going to work for you quick. But on the contrary to that, you also can't get so lost in it that you forget to run your business today.
True.
Because there's 6 months from now AI agents that can maybe take on everything, and then there's today.
Right.
I need solutions for today, but I need a plan for tomorrow.
Right. I call it like being in ground zero.
Yeah.
You got to be like in the epicenter, in the ground zero of like what's going on. Because like when you're in the pulse of things, as these Twitter threads or whatever you call it, X threads, whatever.
I don't know what to call it.
I don't know what to call it either. Knowing like what's going on in San Francisco, what's new software is coming out or around the world nowadays, because they've been popping up everywhere.
Right.
Lovable comes out in Europe, right? Dude. So it's like so many revolutionary things. Like it's so fascinating. Replit, Cursor. Like you can literally make legit softwares and websites that used to cost you $20,000, $50,000.
Take months
for just $25 and a couple of prompts. It's just fascinating, the world that we live in right now.
Oh yeah.
We've been doing it too with like a lot of our, even with the clients, we've been like cloning our clients.
Yeah.
So now it's like if they need to do a video, let's say they want to go to Italy for a whole 2 months and they don't have any content.
Yeah.
We have their AI copy and we'll just make them do videos and we'll edit them in a way that people can't even tell.
We're using it for ads.
Yes.
I used it for 11 Labs for all the audio voiceovers.
It's fascinating. I think like if you're really on the pulse and really, like you said, willing to learn the whole thing that's going on and be in tune, like you can do just crazy amount of work. You know what I mean? It's fascinating.
It's hard to fathom sometimes. But same thing. It's like you got to be able to cut through the noise to the signal. Like what is that?
Right.
Because there's gonna be a lot of noise of like
for sure
get rich quick things.
100%. Yeah.
It's like, how can we get wealthy long?
Yeah.
NFTs.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. But we'll see how that plays out. Because honestly, I mean, Jeff says it a lot too. He believes that race is already won. And I mean, who's gonna catch up to Google? Who's gonna catch up to OpenAI and Anthropic? And it's gonna end up being the monopoly of 3 to 4. Big ones and major of like those companies are the ones that are like
controlling the whole thing.
Yeah. And so it'll be really interesting to see. But economically, I think it is gonna be, I do believe in that whole universal income thing. I do believe that it'll most likely take out the middle class of those jobs that are going to be replaced by AI. And I think it's also going to add a lot of new jobs into the industry. as far as different types of AI positions. And because positions are now changing, right?
Mhm.
It's like now you can have a really big company ran by 7 people that all are leveraging AI,
Right.
and you couldn't have that before. And now it's like the automations of everything, and especially when the agents get good and each person has an agent,
Right.
um, there's just going to be endless ways to use it.
Mhm.
And for big companies, I think it's going to be the ones who integrate it the fastest, because complexity is the enemy of execution. So the ones
Yeah.
that learn how to use it in a simple manner but very
But
effective,
effectively,
they're
yeah.
going to win.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Can't wait to see like where the world is a year from now from this episode,
Bro, we got to do a year from now and be like,
predictions are all wrong.
so I got a flying car.
I know, right? Andrew, this is such a really great conversation here. I'll leave it off with one last question.
Yeah.
If, let's say, you're about to get all of your memories wiped tomorrow,
Okay.
and you can only leave off with one key message from all of your experience, all the things that you've done, all of the campaigns that you've ran, all of the great mentors that you had, what would that message be? That just one thing that you could remember?
I think it's probably just that what stuck with me and that fired me up in that beginning of David, is just must be what you can be. I truly believe like one of the saddest things that when I see it is seeing wasted potential.
Mhm.
When you see someone that could have so much potential and all they needed was somebody maybe to just push them a little bit and believe in them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And maybe it's because sometimes I look at it as myself. I wish somebody would have done that to me earlier. Um, but since then, it's like I owe it to myself to be everything I can be. Not only for myself, for my family, for my loved ones, everyone around me, my friends, my coworkers. Like I owe it to everyone to be everything that I've been made to be.
Mhm.
I think probably that
I love
the
it.
the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, as David would say it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Andrew, thank you for being on the episode.
Dude, thank you. This was so awesome, man.
Yes,
I
and
love that we finally got to do this.
yes, and there'll be more in the future. So, thanks for coming.
Come on. Thank you, bro.
Let's do it. Bye.
Deuce.